Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Let's thank our members as always. Thank you Overlanding11B for being the full crew member. Thank you all the Foxpad members, Sila, Mastropub, Jaf, Justin Field, Yuyush, Igor, and we have two new, just I bugged it out a little bit. Commander Frosty and Lafoche as a Foxpad. So thank you guys for helping out. Subscribe and let's get into it. So yeah, today we're going to have a quick talk, flying a little bit of the Mirage F1 CT in preparation for the Mirage 2000. I have no idea when the patch is dropping, but I feel like it's soon. Probably, I would guess not this week, but probably the next one, which is kind of late to be honest for the normal schedule that they normally do each year, but still amazing. And yeah, amazing that we are getting the Mirage 2000 because as you're going to see in this gameplay, the Mirage F1 is kind of problematic, but still. But let's get into the major thing about the video. So a lot of new players especially, but in general a lot of people complain about minor nations getting less stuff in the game. And I understand why. I see a lot of one nation mains people, like French mains or United States mains, Soviet mains, people that basically don't have the time, obviously, because it is time demanding to actually research everything in the game. And I understand why. Some people just research 1-3, obviously the nation that they like the most or the nation that they are from. So I know I started as a kind of a German main back in 2013, and then I moved to the Soviet 3 when the MiG-15 was added. That was so long ago, Jesus Christ, but still. And I was a Soviet main for most of my War Thunder life, to be honest. It was for a long time until we started seeing cool nations like the French being added and stuff like that, that I decided to actually play another nation. But I never had a problem of my main nation never getting anything, because the Soviet Union, the US especially, and the Soviet Union both are technically a big nation in the game. Obviously they were in the Cold War, and since the beginning of World War II, they were two nations that produced a lot of aircraft, a lot of tanks, and especially during certain times, like for example the US in the late 70s produced a lot of aircraft. The Soviets in the early 70s, late 60s as well produced a lot of different models and stuff like that. So it is just that, they are big nations. They were the two most powerful nations in Earth, and obviously they will have a lot of things. This will be the main argument that Gaijin will always respond to this kind of accusations that minor nations don't get as much stuff as the Soviets or the US. And that's the main reason, right? As a Soviet main back in the day, I didn't have any problems with it, but I understand the frustration of a lot of players that are just playing France, for example, or are playing France. There's a lot of people that have problems with it, but still, you see Swedish mains complaining about it as well. Japanese a lot because Japan doesn't have many vehicles, So I see a lot of these. It's difficult to say it's a minor nation because I don't think a minor nation exists. You know, they are just nations in the game, and but because of the GDP that they are and the production, the everything, the economy of the country, obviously they did less stuff than the Soviets and the US. If you compare the economy of France, Sweden, Japan, all these countries, even China in the early Cold War, uh, they were not very capable of producing 5 different models of aircraft, one for each type of mission, or even like the money to actually experiment a bit, that's probably why it's one of the reasons that we will see the best aircraft and the best tanks in the US and in the Soviet 3. I know there's a lot of people that will complain about this and There's exceptions, obviously, and stuff like that. I'm mainly talking about aircraft, but still. Um, and yeah, obviously, if you have a lot of money, if you have a lot of production potential, you will end up producing a lot more stuff, and you will ended up being a little bit more experimental with the designs. So you will see stuff like the LA200, for example, which is kind of weird one. A normal country would not produce that, you know, a smaller country, you know. The US has many projects like this as well, and I mean, there's more advanced designs and less advanced designs and more complex ones and uh, better ones in general and not that good ones, you know. So yeah, the thing is, the Soviets and the US could experiment, produce a lot more, and they just have the capabilities of doing that. This is will be a thing to all eternity of the world, and not the world because the world changes and stuff like that, but still of the Cold War and for the game as well. Okay, so always remember that. Always remember that. So I understand, and there is many aircraft that should be added. For example, Italy has the problem of not having a proper attacker on a higher tier, like 9 point something, you know, 10.0 maybe, which is the A1 could be a thing there, the MB 336 I think it's called, and many other aircraft that Italy should have. You know, France, it's finally getting, it just got the Mirage F1, but it's finally getting the Mirage 2000 as well to be a little bit more competitive. So there's many examples that the minor nations should have many different aircraft. But the numbers, if you count and compare it to bigger nations like the Soviets and the US, it will be just way too small. If you compare the, I like to say always about the UK, the English. If you take a look, for example, now we are probably receiving the Harrier GR7. We are probably going to get a Harrier, a Sea Harrier in the future, Tornado. But then it's the Eurofighter, and it's basically done. There's not many aircraft beyond that. Of course, there's variants and stuff like that that can help, having more, uh, you know, different types of gameplays and stuff like that. But still, it's like 4 to 5 aircraft. The USSR, for example, for now, just for interceptors, it could receive like 6 of them, like the Yak-25, the Yak-28, the the Su-9, maybe the Su-11, Su-15, MiG-15, MiG-25, maybe the MiG-31, MiG-29, Su-27, many variants of all these aircrafts. So yeah, the bigger nations will always have more stuff, okay? So when you go to research these quote-unquote minor nations, if you are a French main or something like that, keep this in mind, you know, that you will eventually get less stuff than other nations. It's not due to Gaijin just not adding stuff. As I said, there is exceptions, and I think there are some aircraft, for example, that need to be added, like ASAP, but still, it's not like they have a big pool to just pick stuff up, you know. It's not like the Soviets and the US will always be. And China in the future as well, which is a major aircraft you know, production manufacturer right now in the 21st century. So yeah, it's just a matter of having this in mind, and you will not get frustrated basically, because there's basically nothing that we can do, nothing that the Gaijin can do, because there will be less options. It's as simple as that. So no, just because the UK is 3 years without a top tier aircraft, and I agree that the Tornado should come, but still, just because there is a long time frame between the last top tier aircraft that the UK received or Sweden received, it doesn't mean that they will get it something. They will get something, okay? It just doesn't mean anything. And yeah, it's a matter of normally new players complain about this, But there's nothing that we can actually do or Gaijin can do. There will be less aircraft, and it comes to a point to even that people are like asking for a vegan D, for example, the JA37D, which is a 1990s modification that can carry AIM-120s and stuff like that. And come on, like, just because the vegan is there for a while, it doesn't mean that we need another aircraft. You know, it's a matter of balancing and other stuff. So yeah, just keep that in mind. If you are already at the top of the range of your main nation that you love the most, for example, France, UK, not even UK, UK has many options, but Sweden, Israel, stuff like that, that are smaller nations in the game for research, just try it out a different one, you know. Maybe another minor nation that it is very easy to get it. You know, it's easy to research and it's fast to actually research it. Or try one of the big ones. It will take time, but it is there and it will always be there, and it will always have more stuff than the other ones. So yeah, consider that. And yeah, this is why minor nations, technically, minor nations will always get less stuff, okay? I hope you enjoyed the video, and I see you guys on the next one. So bye guys, and let me know in the comments what you think about this. See ya guys, bye.